Alright, right now I'm going to do a Marq upgrade show. Some people are asking what kind of upgrades you can get for your Marq and what you should get. Right now, all you can see visually is grips. I have bought a low-rise clamping feed neck, and I got a new trigger. This is actually the critical trigger. And I got a new ASA too. Okay, so let's start with this. I guess we'll go from bottom up. We'll start with the ASA. I have bought a CP, mini ASA, and micro rail. The ASA it comes with is just a standard, standard normal ASA. This is on a project gun that I have right now. I'll give you more info about that in a different video. Some of the older Marqs you might see, they have like this little front nose that's just cut off and it's just a flat piece. They're pretty much the same. This one has 3 holes on the inside, if you can see it. It has 3 holes. The other one only has 2, I think. That's pretty much it about this. This one actually works pretty well. I do like this one. That's why I have it on here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it. I just wanted to get it on-off because I wanted to use an aluminum bonnet on my tank. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the part that's the threads that you screw into here. So this one is aluminum. Aluminum you should use an on-off with, otherwise you will strip it. So that's why I have this one. Excuse me. The reg, you really don't need to upgrade the reg. The only reason you would need to is if you have an older gun and you have the first generation reg. This one I actually have is a second generation. There are 3 generation 360 regs. Second generation regs come with this little collar that go on the stem right there. You can kind of see me moving that around. The 3rd generation regs come with this collar and stainless steel internals. If you look down into the bottom of your reg, you can tell if they're stainless because they're gray instead of Delrin. The 2nd generation ones that come with a collar, they have a different kind of I think it's a different Schrader valve, but I don't know. But it just makes them more consistent apparently. I haven't had to deal with it because I have a newer Marq. Let's see if I can get this back on. Come on. Wait a second. There it goes. Right, there we go. Alright. Okay, next thing. Okay, I guess we'll go with grips. These grips, they are panel grips. I only got them for cosmetic and feel. The grips my gun came with are these grips. You might see them on the Vice and the Victory now. The older Marqs came with the dot grips. They had just like a bunch of little dots on them. They were kind of thin, but this is one of the newer Marqs that Bob Long was selling. This was actually the last black one they made apparently, so they gave me these grips and they actually gave me a pillow bolt. If you don't have the pillow bolt, that is an upgrade I do recommend because it makes cleaning the engine a lot easier. Trigger I have is a critical trigger. It is a magnet trigger, and it is more adjustable than the stock trigger. Stock trigger it comes with. Contrary to popular belief, this is not the S-Class trigger. People just see that it's milled out of the back. But the S-Class trigger is a bearing trigger. You see that this one does not have bearings. You can see that against me. I actually do like the feel of this trigger. I kind of regret getting a different one, but my spring wore out and I couldn't get a new spring. It kind of sits in there, kind of like that. I don't know if you can see that too well. That's why I have my critical trigger set up like this. The critical trigger though is pretty heavy, so what you have to do is take a Dremel, and there's a whole, like a back chunk of metal that you would have to mill off, or not necessarily mill off, but you get my point. The Violent trigger is out there. It's similar. It's a lot similar to this trigger, except it's made out of Delrin, and it still uses the spring, and it has an adjustment point up here, so you can adjust kind of what angle it comes out at. Other triggers are the power triggers that you might see. I don't see them too often. They're also called the Kodachi trigger. They're kind of like an angle trigger. I'm not sure which gun has them. They're like the other trigger that the SL91 comes with. So if you know what that looks like, that's what you can get. They're kind of hard to find though. Eyes, you can see. Hang on. There it goes. I have let's turn this on. There it goes. See in there? I've bought laser eyes that is not just the light from the camera. The difference between the 2 eyes and the 4 eyes. The 4 eyes, there's 2 sets of eyes on top, one on top of the other. The top eye, when it gets stripped, it starts to charge the solenoid, so you can get your shot off a little bit faster once the bottom eye is tripped. The 2 eyes, it's just the bottom eye, and as soon as the bottom eye is tripped, it charges the solenoid and shoots the gun when you pull the trigger. I use the 4 eyes because I play a lot of semi and I need to get off every shot as fast as I need to. So that is why I have 4 eyes. If you're playing PSP capped at any specific number, then you can get away with the 2 eyes. Once you get to about, I'd say 15 balls a second or so, then I'd say you would need to get the 4 eyes. The 2 eyes will work above 15, but the four eyes do make a noticeable difference. Some people don't really notice it, some people can't tell. I can shoot faster than most people, not trying to brag or anything. The feed neck it comes with is just this one. It has that little wedge in there. That wedge goes out here. Kind of see it where that little toothed one is. This one is not clamping, so what you have to do, every time you put a loader on, you have to loosen it up and then tighten it back down again, which is why I got the clamping feed neck. The only company that makes a low-rise clamping feed neck is Vanquish Products. This actually is a pretty nice feed neck. It comes with a second wedge, and the wedge it has teeth, so it actually bites down onto the loader. These are only for the first generation Marks. You cannot get this on the Victory or the Closer. This will only fit the Mark 6, 7 wrapper, Edge, and I think it'll fit the Russian Legion. I'm not too sure about that. I don't really know anybody who has one. But if you don't have one of those, if you don't have a Closer or a Victory, go to vanquishproducts.com. You can get this one. It's about 30 bucks. The other one you can get, it's only for the Closer because the Victory comes with one, is the Bob Long one. It's a little bit higher. It comes up to about here, and it just gives you the loader a little extra time to catch up with in the stack. That's pretty much it for everything else. Next, any other thing you could upgrade is the barrel. This barrel, the OEM is actually CP, so you actually get a CP 691 one-piece barrel for it with the Bob Long name on it. It's upside down, you can see it right there. Back to the reg. Also, the reg is actually designed by the people who made the CP reg, so you get the same performance as a CP reg, just in a different look. The only reason you would want to get a different reg is if you want the macro line fitting down here or down here. I don't really care too much about it. It works fine for me. But sort of a CP reg, sort of a CP barrel, just a little different. So that's the only two things about these two. That's pretty much it. Something else is internal. It's the supercharger engine or the proficiency engine. I'd say if you're going to spend the money, just skip the proficiency engine and just go straight to the supercharger kit. They do make them with a supercharger kit. It's already installed. I think it's at pbwarehouse.net, and there's a couple other places that have them. The supercharger kit just makes it a little bit more efficient. You can get about 1,500 balls from the start. Once they break in, I've heard people getting about 1,700 to a case. The Victory, we all know, already gets a case. That's pretty much it for anything that you would need to upgrade, aside from detents. Detents, they have metal detents you can buy, but you do need to lube them. And of course there are the killer magnetic detents. I just have the stock Delrin detents because they've worked fine for me so far. I do have a set of super detents elsewhere though, but I'm not using them right now. That's it. Anything else? By the way, this is my Marq. My Marq is sexy. Later.